Regulation of digital assets. How to protect stakeholders.
First of all, thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for inviting me for such an event. After this fantastic presentation and after the panelists, I would like to also take these 10 minutes to talk about the potential problems and the potential solutions of the crypto world and also the protection of the investors. So, if we take a look on the regulations, what we could see that what happened in the beginning was really interesting. That the legislation was against the criminals. I mean actual criminality. So they were trying to push back the criminality, and the pseudonymity of the cryptocurrencies was the main issue and the main problem. And now, since this so-called crypto winter, the accountability of the crypto market actors has also become quite the same. So, the fundamental principles behind the regulations was the main question: that what is cryptocurrency? So, can we define as a fiat currency, or we have to create a new legislation for them? And the answer is quite easy, because you are all professionals, that the traditional financial system does not recognize cryptocurrencies as fiat money, which created a very messy situation in the legislation. We can take the MiCA, for example. We discussed the MiCA. We can also take the FinCEN and the MSB rules, or we can take the Fifth Anti-Money Laundering Directive as an example, where you could see that that what has happened, it was the re-establishing of an already existing methodology, how to check the background of the project and how to defend the investors, for example. And before jumping into the main topic, I would like to underline one very interesting thing. So, cryptocurrencies can be used, obviously, for many good things, but also because of its pseudonym or anonym working methodology, it provides them the opportunity to use it for criminal assets. The most common crimes, what is committed with cryptocurrencies, as you could see, the online black market trading, money laundering, terrorist financing, and various fraudulent of acts, theft, frauds, or hacks. And the other interesting thing is that what we can see on the media still now, that cryptocurrency is dangerous and a lot of criminals are using it. But if you take a look on the statistics, I took 3 different statistics. What we can say is less than 1% of the all transactions has any involvement regarding any kind of criminal cases, which is very interesting. But we also have to take care of these issues. So the direction was very clear from the beginning. The crypto market operators are subject to KYC, the data storage and reporting obligations to the authorities. So this was the beginning. This was the fundamentals. And thanks to the regulation, the number of crypto transactions linked to crime has fallen significantly in the last several years. So 4 years ago, it was around 4 and 5%. Now it is below 1%, and it is just because of the KYC and because of the strict rules on the centralized exchanges. The accountability of the crypto market actors, which is how to say that now it's a hot topic, because. So, before me, the lawyer guy told that he doesn't want to name any projects. Well, I would like to name some projects. First, the Stellar collapse. Second, the bankruptcy of the Celsius network. And third, the collapsing of the 3 Arrow capitals. So, what we can say that the relevant authorities is still investigating the cases. What happened, how it happened, what's going on. But I would like to quote from Sarah Connor, who is the government trustee with the Celsius case, because you know that Celsius filed for a bankruptcy a month ago to protect, the investors. And it is a quote from last week. there is no real understanding among customers, parties in interest, and the public as to the type or actual value of crypto held by debtors or where it is held, the filing said. So what does that mean? For me, it is like, like in a normal case, none of a project like this would have allowed to work or operate legally. And I think this is the main takeaway from all of these cases. The other thing, the guys mentioned also the DAO ecosystem, DeFi and Web3, which are fantastic innovations. So let's be on that part, okay? So these are all fantastic innovations. But I did an analysis of the distribution of government's tokens in the 10th largest DAOs. And what I can say is less than 1% of all holders have 90% of the voting rights, which means that whatever they are saying or stating, it is not as decentralized as we think. And if we take an example, for example, a small fraction of the top 1% of owners cooperated, they could theoretically overrule the remaining 99% of any decisions. And if you take this example from the Solana case, what happened a month ago, it was the same thing what has happened. So some guys overruled another very important guy, and the whole ecosystem were just, enjoying the show. They couldn't vote because they didn't have the voting rights for that, and they couldn't intervene what will happen. And this has an obvious practical implication and is likely to affect investor sentiment in terms of whether small owners feel they can contribute meaningfully to the proposal process. And this is another takeaway from this presentation, that that DAO is a fantastic thing, but please be aware of the details. The other, the future is the SAC. So the SAC did two very important steps. So one was the fight against Ripple. So SAC and Ripple, they are fighting at least 5 years ago. So they started this whole fighting. And 2 years ago, the SAC alleged that Ripple raised over 1.3 billion through illegitimate means. And this case, it's not over. Ripple is very confident, and in the same time, they're attacking Ether, actually, that Ether did the same thing, so why the SAC is not charging them, for example. But the other important thing was what happened in July this year. So when the SAC announced that they will check the insider tradings in Coinbase, the only single centralized exchange who has a US license, so this is why the SAC could file for a thing like that. But the other important thing was another announcement, which was, if you look at this file, at the very last page, there will be 9 tokens, which the SIC think that they are securities. And if it will be true, it will be a very big turnover and turnover in the industry, because if the SIC will think and they can defend it in front of a judge in the United States of America that these 9 tokens were securities, then it will be a huge change in the whole system, alongside with the MiCA regulation. So what future regulations can be expected? So first, the regulations on crypto assets were initially aimed at reducing criminal activities using the cryptocurrencies. So it is clear as snow, so we know that. Recently, however, the investors have suffered losses due to excessive risk in crypto projects to such an extent that regulation on crypto projects is expected. So what I expect, it's alongside with the MiCA regulation and alongside with the SSA FISLUT, there will be another regulations in the US, in Singapore, in Japan, everywhere, because it is a must to have. So someone has to control this market, because what we've seen, for example, just look at the Terra collapse, So with 5 transactions, okay? 5 transactions has happened, and with 5 transactions, they vaporized the whole thing. Because what happened, a whole whale was betting against the Terra. This is what happened. And because everything was automated, in this system, there was no like calls, like in the normal corporate banking system, that I have the money, don't worry, please don't do it, I will give you the money tomorrow. In the normal corporate system, it's working. Here, it was all software-based, and the software felt that, okay, it is felt below $1, then okay, I would like to sell it. And this is what happened in Terra. So in 3 hours, the whole project collapsed. And if you look back and check the Terra/Luna network, you will see that economically it was a nonsense. So, the only reason why you bought Luna, is to put into the Terra network, and ask for this 20% per year, That was the only usage of Luna. And Luna provided the liquidity of Terra, So actually, if we step back, based on my opinion, and I'm not a lawyer, it is a classical pyramid scheme from that point of view. But but the law agencies will have another opinion maybe. And the fact that the SEC has classified 9 different tokens as securities just 2 months ago is a sign that the authorities will scrutinize more closely crypto projects, including DeFi, Web3 related projects. So I think that this decentralized buzzword won't be working anymore against the authorities and against the, to how to avoid the whole regulation, how to not to set up a proper working company in Europe, in the US, or anywhere in the world. I think it will stop. And the other very interesting thing is that 2 weeks ago, the suspected developer of crypto tumbler Tornado Cash was arrested in Amsterdam. Well, I have my humble opinion on the whole case. I think that the crypto tumblers and the crypto mixers will have to stop, So this is my humble opinion. On the other hand, if it's just a software and he couldn't control the software's working methodology, it is another case, okay? But if he gained success, which means tokens or money, from illicit activities, then it has to be a crime. This is my personal opinion on the whole case. And when I was working with the FBI and with the Europol, we fought a lot with these crypto tumblers and mixers. And we also developed some softwares in order to, to trace back the history of the tokens, what happened, how can we trace it back? But actually, with Tornado Cash, we couldn't do a thing. So it was that sophisticated that we couldn't solve it. We tried it with the MIT, we tried it with the FBI, we tried it with many guys. We couldn't succeed with Tornado Cash. So the only solution was to arrest the guy and send a message to the community that you have to stop. And I think it is also a very important message to the community that the authorities will be keeping a closer eye on the crypto-to-crypto exchanges, So you can call it decentralized exchanges, crypto-to-crypto exchanges, whatsoever. The MiCA regulation also stands for that, okay? So I'm very agree with the panelists that the MiCA regulation is a huge step, but I have, as a last question, how can you control it, So I understand, okay? So there is a regulation, and there is a very specific thing what you have to do, but how can you check it, So a very practical question. If a suspect is using Monero and using some kind of tumbler to hide his activity, and he's using non-hosted wallets, and he's dealing with crypto, how can you trace him back, So it's very nice, and if they catch the guy, obviously, it's a law enforcement case, and the guy has to be charged. But on the other side, I'm very, very curious that which authority can follow these new innovations and the new technologies. So thank you very much for your kind attention. If you have any questions, I will be here. Thank you very much.